Alright, welcome to VFX Live. First thing you're gonna meet is this screen. We'll create a new project. Your saved projects will appear in the right sidebar. Go into the plus sign to add either a layer or an effect bus. Here you will be able to add more types, but they're not fully implemented. We'll focus on the shaders for now. You can both search in the stored curated list of layers and effects. You're able to change the source of this from the settings, where you'll find a bunch of other things as rendering, MIDI, mapping. I'll go into that later. But on the effects page, as of now, it's not fully implemented, so it will be empty here. But here is where you will choose which profile you would like to add from, and also your favorites and so on. So picking from this, you can go with a keyboard. You could also search like this, for example. And to add it, you just double click, or you just press to add it, you just press use layer. And here you will have your first layer. This is a little bit long, so it cuts the name of it. Initially, this fader here, it will just control the mixer. The mixer section is over here. This is connected to the track, and the track contains one layer. It's this part. It's a layer, therefore it's yellow colored. So these are all effects, and it's from the ISF API. It's fetched from there. This is a really beautiful effects. And when you press a parameter like this, you can click on the source and map it to LFO, for example. You can also, inside here, you can change the range of where the value will range between. You can change the speed. You can change the type of the LFO. This, for example, is like a random variant. You can also go into threshold and say that it's just going to be effective in a certain part of the input value. In this example, is the LFO. Then you can invert it so it goes the other way. You'll also find some other interesting parameters here. You can toggle it on and off. You can go to settings, where you can change the blend mode of this layer and also the source for the time, and that I'll go into later. So if we want to add some effects to this track, we can just go in here, we can step through them. Let's say we want to add, I don't know, maybe a mirror, light a mirror to this one, like that. We can add multiple effects, of course. We'll add maybe a blur. And for this example, I'm gonna change the blend mode. I'm gonna change it to sides. And what sides does is that it goes from the edges from the sides into the middle. And this is also available for the whole track. You can go from the center or from the sides. And I find this particularly usable when you add multiple effects. So say let's add another one. So this one, the default blend mode is going to be maximum. So therefore you'll see these two go together. But what I can do here is that instead of using maximum, I'll use center. And I will also use blackout. The difference for blackout and not blackout is that blackout will replace everything outside. It's just gonna place it on a black background, but without it, you're gonna have a max as well. So if you see how this one fades, it fades, but it's also mixing. But you can do blackout, and then you will see that it fades, but it gets opaque. So for this one, I would like it to fade in and stay in the middle, like that. And to achieve this, the opacity, which is a little cut off here, it's a bug, but I'll fix that later. It's actually a parameter, and you can click it, and then you can use the threshold value to say that it's going to be effective up until a certain point. So let's say we go fully up, or it's not actually the threshold, sorry, I'm going to change it. It's the maximum. So we're going to say that it's maximally going to go up to this area right here. So therefore the fader will just go up until here. Okay, and then we might want to add something more to this one. Let's go in here, and for this one I'm gonna use the mod 1. And when I add mod 1 like this and I go back, you'll see I get another parameter on top of this track. So mod 1 will now control that parameter. So this is how you will set up a bunch of different things, like say I'm also gonna add this feedback loop. And this feedback loop I will add to mod 1 as well. Now mod 1 is controlling both of these. So we'll go into that kind of vibe. All of these we can also, of course, map to something. I'll add it to mod 2. So mod 2 is gonna control the zoom. All right, so you see how you can build this kind of pretty simple setup. I'll add the cosplay, for example, add it out a little bit like this. Now we've been playing around with some layers. We have 3 layers going on here. Adding to this, we can add an effect bus. The effect bus is basically a bus where all the previous effects will go through. So all of these effects all of these layers that we have, they're now going through this effect bus. And to reorder something, to change the order of rendering, because it goes from left to right, I can use this left and right button here. So this way now the film filter is just affecting everything to the left of it. So this inner dimensional matrix is going through the film filter, and then on top of that we're getting the fractal blob and the cosplay. I'll place it in the end now. I'll crank up some stuff here, maybe like that. I'll add some vignette stuff, and let's go in and add some more stuff to this. Maybe a false color flip. I'll put it to the sides. I'll get it out a little bit, something like that. And so now we have some kind of color effect going on here. We could add another one. For this one, I'm going to use some kind of feedback effect. And this one as well has a blackout, of course, so you could mix it on top, or you could just make it like an insert effect if you're coming from the audio world. And this one I want to have before the film filter, so I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to reduce the zoom a little bit, something like that. And a cool thing that you can do as well is each of these tracks, now I have five tracks, they can all contain different clips or different slots. So to add a new slot, I'll just press the plus, and for this one I'm going to change it to the color flip. So now there's a bug that this name doesn't change immediately. It's something I will have to fix, and this is supposed to be named color flip. I'll rename it by pressing list icon over here. So that's how you can get an overview of the tracks. You can't change them from here. I'll probably add that later, but you can rename them and you can also drag them around. Well, that's one way to change them, because you get another active item. To switch between them, you just go with the buttons. I'll probably move them to the left here because it's a little irritating that they kind of shift around the UI. But yeah, so that's a cool thing. So now we have, like, we're on just one track, but we can have multiple slots on each of them. As of now, the effects and everything, they go with one slot each. But I'm looking at maybe locking effects on one track, so that you can have, for example, let's go into this layer right here. We'll add another. We'll add maybe, I don't know, let's add this one. It's kind of a lot going on this one. We'll just make it a little different. I don't know, something like this. Maybe we'll add an LFO. So now for this one, I have two kind of dotty effects. And maybe you would like to add some kind of effect on top of just this layer. Let's say we add a kaleidoscope. You can't see it very well. Maybe I'll just put away some of these, right, for the sake of it. Let's do like this. Let's say I wanted to keep this effect. That's not working right now because it's goes together. So that's both a strength and a weakness, in my opinion, because you can build really cool modules that you could have a bunch of different effects on, and then just switch it all up. Okay, so next up, we're going to look a little bit on audio. So right now, to load audio into this, you'll go into the settings. So and you'll pick audio, and here you can choose the audio source. Right now, it's set to none. It's just you just change it to, let's say, external input that would pick up the microphone. So right now it's just reacting to my voice here, but I'm going to switch it up to instead use a local audio. Local audio is basically just a file. You pick the file by clicking here. I've already chosen one, and you play it like this. You probably don't hear it because I gotta put it on multi-output. So right now it should come through, and what I've done here is a little different than other implementations on similar applications. I've chosen to add it as an envelope because I think you get a much more clean value. So you have two filters. You have the low pass and you have the high pass. They have individual settings, but it's the same kind of settings. Fall will affect how long it takes for this threshold value to go down. It's slowly coming down to the audio signal, and once the audio signal hits it, it's going to push it up, and that's going to generate the envelope. And the envelope is going to be shaped by the attack and the release parameters right here. So for this one, it's pretty static. If I go down, it's going to keep falling down towards the rhythm. I tend to use a kind of high value on the fall, so it doesn't come down so fast. You can experiment with it. It might be different with different tracks. Also play with where you put the filter. For example, now when it's a little bit more quiet part, can be nice to have the fall going faster so you still have some impact from it. Here's where you will see the envelope value, like going from full to or opaque to transparent. All right, so to map these ones, we're gonna close this. You get a little audio player here. You scroll it by going up and down. It's not left, right. It's not super intuitive maybe, but I'll probably change that later on. So we go in here, and now we can easily like find something that's interesting to. Maybe we could change the dot size and put it to the low value, and let's adjust like, and maybe we want the release to be slower. Gonna upload this one. And apart from this, you can also control the, now it's gonna come back. And I think this needs to be, the release needs to be a little tighter. It's a bit intense, right? I'm just gonna make it a little bit more like this, right? Cool. Let's bring in some of these effects. Okay, so let's look at another way you can use this. If you go into an effect, this is quite a new feature, I think. You can control the time source of this effect. So here you'll have a bunch of different audio low, I'll set it to. And you see that the pulse of the audio is gonna now control the timing of this. There are two different versions for the low and the high pass filters. Static is gonna be just zero out when there is no envelope generated, and whenever it is, it's gonna push it. But the other one is using the constant time speed and adding the envelope to that. So I think that can be really useful. I'll just mess around with this one a little bit. So let's go back into this one. We get a good movement here. And then you can also adjust the whole speed. And that's also cool because it changes the speed of everything, and the LFOs, they are relative to this global speed. So all the LFOs that you set up, they're going to be working together with this speed knob for all the effects. So slowing it down, reversing, is really nice for the performative parts. Yeah, so that's these things. I'll go into this feedback. I think I'm gonna choose maximum. I'm gonna lower the effect value a little bit. I just assume. I'm just curious, is the effect coming from here? Yes, it is. So maybe this one could also have some high, maybe. Oh, that's way too much. Cool. I'll go into the film filter. I'll add some exposure, connect that to the audio high. Exposure goes way high. Right. Okay, that's cool stuff. I'm gonna try to get the hi-hat from this one. Think like that. And maybe we could adjust the false color flip. We can even control this one. Just make it a little bit. I'll add a little bit of attack to that. And then if you wanted to project this on a screen, you would basically just click this and you'll have a separate screen. And you could easily just throw out a bunch of them if you have multiple projectors. You can just make them go full screen. I'm not sure if this is going to show up. Yeah, so that's very simple. You can do rendering, Syphon input, output. You can change the format here. If you want to do 916 or whatever, you can choose the render size, go up. It supports up to 4K, but my computer can't handle it. So if you have a monster giga computer, go ahead, do it. Yeah, I guess that's that right for now. There's gonna be a bunch of updates coming, of course, and